Hi there everyone, this is Jed Shlackman, and in this video I'll be speaking about our spiritual journey, and essentially that's looking at our journey through life, through experience, and how we'll proceed toward reintegrating with our higher self, what you could call our journey home, or our reintegration with a higher source. To explore this topic, I'd like to provide a little bit of a metaphor, an analogy of sorts about the journey of a spirit. If we think of who we are as our individual identity, we might call this our personality self, who we think we are as we go through our human life experience. We could analogize that to a drop of water. And if we think of a drop of water within a wave, within the ocean, that expands this analogy to look at how that individuated self relates to a higher self or soul and to the infinite source, what people would often call God, the creator, the supreme being, the great spirit. So that drop of water exists within a wave. It's actually a part of that wave. It contributes to the wholeness or totality of that wave. So this human personality self is one little tiny part or fragment of the energy and the field of consciousness of what people often call the soul or the higher self. Then that higher self, that soul, is like a wave that has arisen from the source, the ocean, from the infinite beingness. If that ocean existed without any waves, of a state where there's no movement, it would just be completely still, completely flat or even. In that state, there would really be no experience. So this wave action creates the opportunity for experience, for all those waves to continue to move and interact with one another, to create new experiences, to generate new waveforms, new forms of creation. So each of us is that little drop of water within that infinite ocean, is contributing to that process, to these waves of experience that are arising. As each of us accumulates our individual experiences, those experiences contribute to the collective consciousness of what we could call the soul. So our experience is contributing to the evolution of that higher self or soul. The soul is collecting and accumulating those experiences and using them in its own process of development. So the soul is continuing to evolve and is using these drops of water to grow and expand in its process of evolution. Those drops, of course, don't exist truly separate from the wave or from the ocean, from the source. They all contribute to that totality. Each of us is existing in a way parallel to those other drops of water that exists within our soul, our wave of higher consciousness, and all those other souls or other waves of higher consciousness that exist within the ocean. From our personalized point of view, we think that we're separate, that we're having our own separate experience, our own separate identity. However, all of those drops and waves are coexisting, and the experience, the information that exists within each of them is all available to a field of greater consciousness, to the source of all existence. So if we think of God consciousness, that consciousness is inclusive of every being, of every experience, of every part of creation. We don't exist separate from that God consciousness. We just imagine ourselves, in a sense, to be separate from one another and separate from the source. That illusory sense of separateness is a useful illusion that allows us to have the experiences that we have, to perceive ourselves as separate from other, from whatever we perceive around us. But at another level, or another density of consciousness, we would perceive everything as part of a greater whole, as not separate. Therefore, we experience ourselves here in this human life normally from the perspective of the ego self, of whatever seems important to us at any given time. So we may be concerned with our physical survival, with our relationships, with our roles in society. We may develop an interest in contributing to the world around us, to being of service. So that's the different types of interests, the different values we may have, the perspective that we may be operating from. From the soul's perspective, everything that we're experiencing, everything that a human being is experiencing, is part of a process of self-exploration, of gaining a deeper understanding of our own creative potential, and also an understanding of the implications of what we envision or imagine, of what we choose to create. So it's kind of like a feedback system. With this feedback system of physical life, the soul is able to reflect upon what exists within the realm of consciousness. So things are, in a sense, slowed down. You can have a thought, and the consequences of that thought don't appear instantly. It may require holding and maintaining that thought and emotions associated with that thought on a consistent basis for things to materialize in physical reality, to give you the feedback about that particular pattern of thought. So this presents an opportunity for learning and understanding that wouldn't otherwise be present. It wouldn't be available to us as just a soul, just a field of spiritual energy. By having this physical experience, it provides for a deeper level of understanding, a deeper layer, in a sense, of learning. So as we go through these experiences and this individual human learning process, all of that's being brought back into the consciousness of the soul and of the Supreme Being or Spirit. And that's what I'm referring to as a process of going through a journey home for reintegration. Everything is actually integral or integrated into the universal source or universal consciousness. The more we're open to that process and, in a sense, aware of that process, the more that we can benefit from it in our personal human life. So as a human being, we can access more of our higher consciousness, more of our potential, and in a sense embody that more in our life experience. So we can interact with the world around us more from a higher perspective, from a greater level of understanding and appreciation for life, for ourselves, and for others. As someone who does a lot of spiritual healing work and also facilitating spiritual regression, or what people often refer to as past life regression, I have the opportunity to see these processes at work, how people going through different experiences or challenges in their various incarnations are actually contributing to the evolution of their soul, their higher self. And as a process of growth or evolution occurs, that actually is in a way integrated into the human life experience as well, so that human being is able to function perhaps in a more balanced, a more whole manner. I hope that this discussion has given you, the viewer, some insight, some ideas about your life experience and how it's contributing to the evolution of your soul, to the Creator's exploration of the infinite potential of being, the potential of creation. For those that are interested in spirituality and holistic health, I invite you to watch more of my YouTube videos. You can also visit my website, www.phinsights.com. That's PHINSIGHTS.com. For now, I would like to wish each of you a wonderful day. Namaste.